we should be good. Go ahead and walk on screen. Oh, crap. I need to mute my Twitch page. Alright. Send out the tweets. Make sure that everything's connected, and we should be good. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is September 16th, and this is the September 16th TextQuest Devstream. So, it's Saturday, which means that we're going to do custom game stuff today. Specifically, we're going to start off by, turning off our UI object here, and then we're going to navigate to the current custom room setup, because I want to test something real quick. We should be able to open up our interaction menu from there. So the main focus for today is we're going to try to get custom game interactions. Friends, stop texting me while I'm trying to do my dev stream. All right. So the main focus for today is going to be getting custom game interactions working. More specifically, I guess actually I shouldn't say working. More specifically, it's going to be about getting custom game interactions set up. So allowing players to make their own custom game interactions. That's going to be the focus for today. Now we already have some amount of menus set up, but they're not particularly, well, they can't really do anything right now because we don't have a way to store the data set up yet, and we don't have a way to really get the data itself per interaction set up. So that's we're going to start off by trying to get it so that we can at least retain a local copy of data that you're trying to set up for interactions. So we're not gonna worry about saving it out to the save file yet. We're just gonna get, you can set up however many interactions that you want, and they will actually exist as objects that you can interact with, even if they don't, get retained from play session to play session. Cat, I see you. You don't need to be up on my desk. All right. So we come over here to interactions. We have an add interaction button, and if I click on it, dang, did it actually open it or did it throw a null reference? It didn't throw a null reference. So clicking on that button should have made it so that it actually did something, except I didn't do that. Oh, no, I did. Okay, so interesting. Is it below it then? That would be my guess. Let's go to view container. Custom game overview. That's interesting. All right, let's see if there are multiple menus with it open. Custom game map is open. Title, main, and... Really? Does UI just not have it? It's not a modal, is it? Right? No. Okay. Let's see. Custom game interactions. Yeah. Interesting. Why on earth would you not work? Oh, because I, of course, added it to the wrong freaking thing. Dang it. That just goes to show you what happens when I try to be smart, and that's not even me trying to be smart, I was just trying to get stuff done before the dev stream. It's like, oh, I wasn't very careful, apparently. Well, in any case, we now have our prerequisite eternity for Unity to stop playing, so let's see, what can we do on code while we're doing this? Actually, let's take a look at our CG interaction view on open. All right. Actually, this is going to be... So we probably need to have a custom open function here. It's going to be something like public void open, and then we'll pass an int ID. And that int ID is going to be the unique identifier number for the interactive object itself. And we need to have this because we need to allow our custom game interaction view to actually retrieve information regarding existing interactions whenever you want to edit them. So we're eventually going to need that. We're not going to set that up right now, but that is something that we're going to need eventually. Let's come back here. Now let's try it. Let's go ahead and play again. Our splash screens, go to start, extras, author mode, create, Zork, go to map, go to one of our rooms, interactions, add interaction. I did save. Oh, you've got to be, oh wait, no, that's the other thing. Okay. interaction button is there. Is it not set up then? This is rather embarrassing, I must say. Let's see, custom room, custom map room. Here we are. We want to go to our sub room actually. So room interactions, new interaction button. I mean, yeah, I totally did click on it. Let's see. Ah, there it is. So yeah, it's just that it's got a lower one. Okay, let's just set you to be 6, and then we'll drag this here, drag you up, and then we'll stop. There we go. So that's something that we're gonna have to adjust. But so this is the object overview. So you can see basic information. We have the object name that's going to be displayed. The type of object, either basic or item. The description for the object will allow importing information so that you can just import a JSON file to set everything up. Then clearing all information on this object, clearing the file that you import from. Importing the actual file once you set that, and then deleting the object itself. Then we also have a couple of other views to let us set some more specific information. So, names for the object, adjectives, type of object, description. And then, of course, verbs, which we haven't set up yet because that is going to be a nightmare. God, that's going to be so much information to try and convey here. It's going to suck. And then, of course, we can just hit close here. That should bring us back to here. And then we can close out of this, and it should be fine. Although, actually, does that... Okay, good. I thought I remembered that we moved these down to the bottom, but... So we're just going to hit close here. So that's where we are currently in regards to menus and setting things up. So the next step I would like to take is creating a default interaction. So when we add a new interaction, we need to, one, instantiate a interactive object into the scene to serve as that object, and then we'll need to track it, set up all of its information, yada yada yada, do all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and room interaction menu. Do I need to do anything else there? Yeah, probably should. So let's go to actually submenu. I'm guessing you have an author. Yep, there it is. Go to definition. We're going to need our custom game author session, and while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and save. And we're going to need, let's see, get node color. Where's my ints here? Connection info, generate room ID. Here we are. Generate variable ID. Let's go ahead and go to custom game session real quick too. So I'm going to need to set up a prefab for our interactive object prefabs. So we're going to need to say public interactive object interaction prefab. Okay, we'll go ahead and tooltip this. Oops. Tooltip. Ah, I cannot type apparently. Jeez. Okay, so we're just gonna say the prefab to instantiate for object interactions. Actually, we'll say basic interactions because we're eventually gonna need an item. So I guess we'll go ahead and make the field for that, but we're not gonna do it right now. Public item. Item prefab tooltip, and that's because items are treated differently. They have certain things that only items can do, and those are the objects that you can pick up and take around with you in your inventory. So we're gonna go ahead and say the prefab for to instantiate for item interactions. Jeez. Okay. Okay, so we're also going to need to come down here to, instead of generate variable ID, generate room ID. We're going to need a similar function to these, but it's going to be public int, and I guess we'll go ahead and say, actually no, don't I have a generate new ID or something like that? I might just call it generate variable ID. That's fair. Alright, so we'll go ahead and say generate interaction ID, open close parentheses, Now, this is going to be interesting. So int new ID is equal to 0. Return new ID at the very end. And now we have to do a bunch of shenanigans to make sure that it is a unique int ID. So, what are you? Oh, right. We're just looking through our variable information. I really did want to avoid this, but I suppose I can't. That's fair. So, for us to actually use this information, well, no. Yeah, no, we do. I have to have a serialized class that basically has all of the same information as the base interactive object. Ew, that's disgusting. Because I need to store that data. And that means that I need a way to, well, no, I shouldn't need to do that. I can just do to and from JSON, but I have to store it in, well, no, I don't. No, I do not. I lied. Because my base interactive object class already has from and to JSON function, well, functions. They're currently not fully set up, I don't believe, because I haven't really had a need for the to JSON functions. Well, then again, I guess actually for basic object interactions, it probably is. And we know that parsing from JSON works. So we don't need a serialized class. Instead, we're just going to use actual objects that we instantiate. So it's a little archaic, but because we're not going to be using like scriptable objects or anything like that. Instead, we'll have a list of interactive objects that you spawned. And then at the end, when we want to save all this out to a JSON file or to the to the actual save file, to the actual save file for your game, we will get all of the JSON information from all of those interactive objects, and then we'll clear that list when we leave, essentially when we reset everything. So we'll have a bunch of mono behaviors in the scene acting like serialized classes, but that will prevent us from having to basically do a bunch of steps to replicate all of the information inside of those mono behaviors, because I really don't want to have a data class solely for custom games that has the exact same information as the base interactive object class. So doing it this way is it's a little less straightforward, but it will save us a lot of effort, and it will have the same result. So all right, so we don't have to worry about that. And then when we parse the information back in, we'll just grab those JSON blobs, pass them along to the interactive objects that get spawned in, and then we'll just be done with them. So we won't have to worry about it. So we are going to go to custom game session, and for this, I am going to need, I think, a list of interactive objects here. So let's go ahead and say public list. Oh, no, actually, you know what? It can't be a list of interactive objects. It has to be a list, or a dictionary, actually. It has to be a dictionary of int IDs and interactive objects for its references, because we need to, again, know the unique IDs for those interactive objects, and those interactive objects do not have an actual instance ID, because base game interactions don't have that problem. So we're going to do a little bit of data manipulation to make that work properly. So protected dictionary int, and then I wonder if no, we'll just do interactive object. Oops, interactive object. I saw a performance talk for Unity saying that you could actually use dictionaries of ints, and the second int would be the instance ID for the interactive object, and it would be a little bit faster, but I don't really think we need to do that. I mean, we're not going to really hit a performance problem, I don't think. So we're just going to say interactions. And actually, you know what? We'll have them all be the same thing. So yeah, we'll call this interactions. I was thinking about maybe separating base interactions from item interactions, but they're all interactions at the end of the day, so it makes sense for them to just all be in one big dictionary. So new dictionary. That's all good. All right. So we're going to need to load interactions, I'm guessing. So load game data. Let's go ahead and do public interactive object get interaction int ID. Then we're going to say for int I equals 0. Oops. I is less than interactions dot count. Oh, wait. That won't work. Gross. It's a dictionary, so I don't actually even have to do that. I can just say, we'll just say return interactions dot, well, not even dot, just of ID. Well, we'll say dot contains ID first as a check. Dot contains key ID question mark. If so, interactions of ID. Otherwise, we will return null. Cool. So that's how we get an interaction. And let's see. In custom game, move in direction, output text, receive input, check quit input, confirm quit input, room names, get room, all of the stuff that we have to add in this massive class. Let's see. So I don't want to do any of the add stuff. Okay, so we're going to need something like public void load interactions, I'm guessing. Actually, hold on. Let me go down to add room background. Let's find all references, because I know that this probably should just be called in. There it is. So public void load background images. And okay, so we do add, get, load. Okay, that's good. Add, get, load, and sorry, I'm trying to keep a similar structure here. I might have inadvertently put this in the wrong spot. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. Well, we're not getting rid of it. We're relocating it, essentially. Let's see. Background, ambience, load ambience. All right. So we're going to say get interaction. We're just going to do that. So then we're going to need add interaction. And for that, we're going to want an ID and then an interactive. Well, no, that doesn't make sense. Actually, no, that's probably fine. So we'll go ahead and say public void add interaction int ID interactive object interaction, and I'm guessing that this is just, yeah, okay. So we're just going to copy this code, paste it in here. Don't know why I made these separate lines, because I totally don't need to. And let's go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff. We're just simplifying. All right, so interactions dot contains key, and then interactions. All right. So that's add interaction, and now we're going to need just load interactions. So public void load interactions. Do we need a JSON blob for that? No. But that does go through. Okay. So we're actually going to need a couple of things. I think load interactions is going to take a JSON array, actually. So we're going to say interactions JSON array. All right, so this is going to be an array of JSON blobs that are our interactions. Oh, wait, no. Why do an array when we can use an object where the name fields are the IDs? That would work, and that would prevent me from having to inject an ID into the JSON blob that gets generated. So sweet. So we're actually going to change that to JSON, sorry, not collection, JSON object, interactions JSON. All right, so we're just going to say for int I, oh, okay, int I is equal to 0, I is less than interactions, I'm sorry, interactions JSON dot length I plus plus. And actually, you know what? We're gonna simplify this. So we're gonna say string. I don't remember if I made it an array. Names is equal to interactions JSON dot names. Okay, so I made it a list. That's fine. List string or string. All right. So the dot names is the names of every JSON field. So for example, here, this JSON blob right here has names for ID, name, description, background, audio, audio volume, etc., etc., etc. So we can get a string list of, or a list of strings that represents all of that data. Then we can iterate through that, getting all of the information from the object itself. But we can use the actual name value of the object as an ID, a unique identifier for it. Oops, I did not mean to go back here. All right. So what I mean by that is we'll essentially do this. Let's go ahead and change this to names.count. And here's where things are going to get interesting. We're going to have to say pool manager dot request interactive object, and then we'll need to give it the prefab. So interaction prefab. And we don't really care about a parent. They can just kind of float nebulously for all I care. I suppose it would probably be good to say cache transform. Ah, dang it. Like it probably should be below the actual interaction or the actual game manager, but let's go ahead and say interactive object. We'll call it just IO is equal to that. All right. And then we'll be able to say interactions dot add, and then names of I dot toInt, followed by IO. Cool. So now all of that should be, or should allow for a actual list of interactions based on data that's been saved. And each interaction will be prefaced by its ID, or its unique ID in the game. So we can load all that information in and save it all out without modifying the base JSON generated by the interactive objects. So, hooray! That saves us a lot of effort. Need a drink, apparently. All right. So, that should load our interactions. And actually, before we do that, I am going to go ahead and say interactions dot clear, so we don't accidentally just like double down on all of our interactions. All right, so we have that. Next, we're going to want to call load interactions, I suppose. So let's see, where are, excuse me, where are you called from? So load interactions. Oh, crud. Right. So the location I'm planning on basically parsing all this out from is, so you can see that we have this game data object here. And inside of that, we have a object called, or an array called rooms. And then we'll, in addition to this array called rooms, we're going to have another array. Well, not an array. We're using an object. We're going to have an object called interactions, and that will just be the object containing all the interactions information. But that does give us some problems now, doesn't it? Because I need to actually load all of that information in there, which is not exactly super great. So I might actually move this down and instead go to from JSON. So go to definition here. Let's see. So we need, we're looking for up here, game data, need that object. game data. Here we are. So we're going to need JSON object interactions JSON is equal to data JSON dot get object custom content utility dot section game data new JSON object. So we're going to do all that for now because we don't actually have an ID set up. So we go here. Let's see. Game settings, game contents. I guess this is what we're looking for. Before I commit to that, let me double check. So down here, yep, key rooms. Okay. So let's go back over to here. Are we using you anywhere? Find all references. We are, but we're not actually doing anything with it right now, so that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to key interactions. Oops. Right, hold on. Got to use my proper capitalization. Go ahead and change this to interactions. And okay, I lied, actually. Let's rename that back to objects. So I probably should store them separately. So I'm going to store my basic interactions versus my item interactions in separate objects. That way when I'm spawning them in, I'll know what prefab to use. Otherwise, I would have to dig into the JSON itself and just look for specific values that would indicate that it's an item, and I don't really want to do that. That would get super messy super quick. And just look for specific values. Oops, sorry. Wanted to make sure that I wasn't muted. In any case, so let's go ahead and let's find all references. Let's go back here. Items are being used, so default, all that fun stuff. Okay. So, up here. So we're not going to have interactions JSON instead. Oh, that complicates things so much. Actually, you know what? No, it doesn't. So we can actually, that's not too bad. So we're still going to have the same approach. We'll have a sub-object of game data called interactions, and then inside of that object, we will have two sub-objects, one called objects, one called items. That makes sense. So let's go ahead and let's go back to our here. Where are you? Come up here. All right, so we're going to need public const string key or cat key underscore interactions. Okay, so interactions. All right, so let's go back here. Key underscore interactions. Sweet, sweet. And while we're here, let's go ahead and grab, I guess below the, well, no, not, It probably should be loaded in before the game data, I'm guessing. So after variables, well, you know what, we can probably just do it here then. So load interactions JSON. Okay. We're going to go ahead and go back up here. So we're not done yet. We're going to say JSON object basic interactions JSON is equal to interactions JSON dot get object custom content utility dot key underscore objects. All right, and I suppose we should go ahead and do a safety new object just in case. We're going to do the same thing for item interactions, just a couple of renamings. So item interactions JSON key underscore items. Cool. All right, so now we're going to want to say names is equal to basic interactions, not names. All right. So here we're going to need to say io dot from JSON. Oh, this is going to be a little bit of refinement in the future, but it should be fine. From JSON, basic interactions JSON dot get object, and then names of I. Okay, so that should spawn a new interactive object, populate its information with a JSON blob, and then add that interactive object along with its unique identifier to the list of interactions, or to the dictionary of interactions. All right, so after that, man, sorry, I'm currently, no, it should be fine. All right. So after that, we're going to have to sort of reset some stuff. So we're going to say names is equal to item interactions, JSON.names. Let's go ahead and we're going to say item io is equal to item, and then item prefab from JSON, and then we're going to paste some item interaction JSON, blah, 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 blah. All right. And for now, I'm actually going to go ahead and comment out the item stuff. But that, in theory, should work. All of that should actually parse out. But I don't really care about it right now. What I'm more interested in is this load interactions, like for the base interactive object stuff. Let's go ahead and come back here, let it compile. So we should now be able to load our interactions, even though nothing will come of it, because we don't have any saved information. But now we can go over here to custom room interaction. Where were you? Custom game. Here we are. Generate interaction ID. So for generating an interaction ID, yeah, okay. Ah, jeez. So gross. Okay. Sorry, I'm currently trying to think. I don't know if it would be better to have a dictionary using unique identifier ints to get interactive objects, or if it would be better to use a list of a custom class that has an int ID and then a reference to an interactive object. It's probably a dictionary is fine. I just hate having to do for each loops on dictionaries. I hate it, and I have to do it if I want to get all those IDs. So fine. So I'll have to do for each int ID in interactions dot keys, and we'll have to say if not interactions dot contains key ID +1. So if our dictionary does not contain this ID +1, that means that there's a safe ID that's unique that we can use. So I'm going to go ahead and say new ID is equal to ID +1, and that should be it. And we'll just return new ID. So I know it sounds like we're going through a lot of steps that don't quite make sense, but we're almost, I'd say we're about halfway through getting the actual interactions almost ready to set up. So, all right, CG interaction view. I don't really need that, but that's fine for now. So we're going to go ahead and say if not is open, do all this fun stuff. We'll do open false. Okay. So we're going to need to say private interactive object target object, and then we're going to say target object is equal to global.get custom game guess we'll say author session dot get interaction, and then pass it the ID. All right. So now we should be able to open up our interaction view with a specific object in mind, which will allow us to actually load all of this information in. Oh boy. We're getting there, but man, this is getting tough. Oh geez, that's a problem. Yeah, okay. Let me think. So one of the problems using mono behaviors instead of serialized classes with this information is if you change your type from basic to item, that's not much of a problem because item has more information than basic objects do. But if you go back from item to basic, I don't really have a good way to repopulate that information once it's lost. So either I have to give players a warning that they're about to lose item information and they can't go back, or I have to not actually make that mono behavior switch from item to interactive object, or vice versa. Well, actually, no, it's only from item to interactive object until the menu is closed, at which point it's assumed that it's saved. It's a little brutal. I don't like having destructive workflows like that, but I'm not entirely sure what else I could do, really. Besides reparsing all of that information from the save file, which would not be great. So, okay. So where are we in relation to this? Okay, so then I think the only thing we have left to do really is in our custom room interaction menu, when you hit on add interaction clicked, or when you hit the add interaction button, we need to add a new ID to our custom game author session, and then we need to add, actually it's, so actually that's going to be automatic. So that means I can just do this. This has an author session. Yeah. Okay. So author session dot add interaction. Do I have that return an ID? No, but I don't see why I can't. So we're going to say author session dot generate interaction ID. Then fully. All right. Yeah. So I have to manually do that, don't I? Fine. So we're going to go ahead and say pool manager dot request interact. No, you know what? We can't even do that. I have to actually do some stuff real quick. So we're going to say interactive object IO is equal to pool manager dot request interactive object, and then author session dot interaction prefab, and our second thing here is going to be IO. I don't really, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go to custom game author session. I'm going to add a function called like add new item. Yeah, similar to what I'm doing here. So let's see, room info, connection, rooms, variables. Okay, here we are. So we're just going to go ahead and say public void add new interaction. All right, and that will actually give us the int ID, I think. So we're going to go ahead and say int new ID is equal to generate interaction ID. Then we will return new ID. Otherwise, we're basically going to do what we just set up here in custom room interaction menu. So I'm going to go go ahead and grab this. I'm just going to say dot add new interaction. Okay, let's come over here, paste this in. So interaction prefab, and then we're just going to say interactions dot add new ID IO. Cool. And let's go ahead and come over here. This will be our int ID, so int ID is equal to that. And then we're going to say get, then dot open ID. Okay. So we're going to add something real quick. We're going to go to custom game author session up at the very top. I'm going to add public text asset, interactive, basic interaction template. So that's the JSON that we'll use to generate like just basic interaction information. So it's not going to have a lot of content in it. In fact, it's this pretty much. So it's just going to have like basic names, any plural names that we have there, a description for it. We don't really need text color, really. Well, I guess we might use it. You know, adjectives, and then the full list of verbs that you can use by default. Although, crud, do I actually want that? I don't know if it's a good idea to show or to populate all of those by default, because you might have custom verbs that you want to use instead. In any case, hello, Gennaro. Gennaro. I kind of want to say Gennaro, but Gennaro might work too. Either way, welcome to the Devstream. How are you doing today? So, yeah, it should be fine. And we're only testing this for now anyway. Let's go ahead and pop back over here. So, Gennaro. Okay. Or, no, Gennaro. So I was right. Gennaro. Ha! Amazing. Well, I'm glad that you're doing amazing. It's always good when people are doing amazing. In any case, let's go ahead and save this out. We're going to scroll all the way back down. We're going to populate our JSON. So we're going to say IO here. I'm going to say IO dot from JSON, and then basic interaction template dot dot text, and we have to do JSON parser. Except it won't let me type that. JSON parser dot parse. All right. So I am 70% sure that this is set up now. Now we don't have our actual interactive menu or interaction menu populating its information yet. I'm more curious to see if we can get the object itself to spawn and if it will have the correct values. Once we have that working, then we know that everything spawns correctly, more or less, which means that we can, go about setting up the menus to reflect that information and populate everything. It's some question about programming, taking a big leap of faith that you have some Python experience. I've done a little bit of Python, so maybe I might be able to help you out. It has been a while though. I haven't had to use Python in eternity. But what are you trying to do? Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and make an empty game object. We'll just call this custom game basic interaction. Okay, that is going to have an interactive object component on it. And just to make sure that things behave as expected, I'm going to go ahead and give it a model module. And I don't think I need anything else, really. I might need a model module So we'll have to have an empty model object below it, but besides that, it should be fine. It's mostly just so that I don't have to do some extra programming, because the model is disabled or enabled based on the state of an object, particularly items. So when they are in your inventory, they're disabled. That way you can't accidentally see them somewhere. So this should be a good prefab to use, and that should let us do everything that we need to. So let's go to prefabs. Do I have one for? I don't. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go to create folder, custom game. Go ahead and drag this in here. Wow, that did not do what I wanted. Okay, there we go. Trying to set a function to true using an if statement. Okay, so do you just mean check if a variable is true and then return true? I guess I would have to see some of your code to be able to tell you more. So, oh, okay. Now we need to assign our references there. So custom game session, go ahead and grab that, and then custom game author session, go ahead and set that. Okay. Oh, and then our basic interaction template. I guess I'm gonna need that then, won't I? Yeah, we can just go ahead and grab it from here. So for the time being, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it in here. So let's go to our, no, not analytics, sorry. Custom game author session, let's grab this. Okay. So we should be good. Let's go ahead and apply those changes. And now when we try to generate a new item, it should properly instantiate it, have it parse from that JSON file, and then we should be able to look at it in the hierarchy. So let's go ahead, and I'm not going to maximize on play for this because we need to see our hierarchy. So admitted is equal to none, age is equal to value. If age is greater than 13, admitted is equal to true. Is admitted supposed to be a Boolean, I'm guessing, in that case? In that case, you could probably set it to false by default instead of none. Go to extras, and author mode, create, Zork, map. Okay. Interactions, add interaction. Oh! Crap. Now we gotta wait like 5 minutes. I forgot to change the depth of the menu. I mean, that seems to be what I would expect. So you're just doing a basic if comparison there, and then you're setting it to be true. What seems to be the trouble there? Is it throwing an error, or is it just not getting to that point? Okay, let's just go to our UI here. Select this. Need you to be 6. Cool. Okay, now we can properly play all that. He's telling me the line it's on is invalid syntax. Line 1 is invalid syntax? What's line? Oh, is line 1 just your admitted is equal to none? Start, extras, author mode, create, Zork, map, interactions, add interaction. Okay. Did we get any errors? We didn't get any errors. But I don't see it. It must have, right, yep, there it is. Forgot that if it's not specified, it just goes underneath the pool. Okay, so yeah, cool. So we got it working. And that means that all of our basic interactions seem to be true. So let's go ahead and go to like take. Looks like yep, you can't list a test object. Cool. Cool. So that works. That means that we need to basically populate all of this information and also make it so that we can retrieve that object in the room and set it up. So let's go ahead and hit close here. Oh, and you know what? While we're here, let's go ahead and make it so that we get a button that spawns in that shows the name of the object. That way we can see the interaction itself. So we'll need the name of the object and then maybe a delete button, and then we can set up all of this information over here. All right, so have you tried setting admitted instead of admitted equals none? Try setting admitted equals false. All right, we have the eternity to wait until it actually stops. All right. So let's go ahead and go to custom room interaction menu. So on interaction clicked, we're going to also want a couple of things. We want to do generate interactions. Right. Okay. So I'm also going to go ahead and come over here to CG interaction view. OpenID is going to also accept a system.action callback. By default, that will be equal to null. And what we'll do is when this menu closes, if its callback is not null, we'll go ahead and basically activate that function. So we'll use that to, once you're done interacting with your new interaction, like setting up all of its information like names and such, we will call a refresh on the custom room interaction menu or any other menu that happens to link to that menu so that the list of interactive objects gets updated properly. That way you can see all of the most recent up-to-date names instead of having, legacy names that aren't correct anymore. So let's go ahead and say private system, oops, wow, prove it. I cannot type private system.action close callback is equal to null. Actually, we'll just leave it like that for now. Go ahead and say close callback is equal to callback. Same thing, invalid syntax, string line 1. Okay, so I suppose you could always, that's weird though, if that doesn't work, you can always do a quick makeshift one and just say admitted is equal to 0, and then if age is greater than 13, admitted is equal to 1. So basically have it be an int value that's either 0 or 1. I'm not entirely sure why that wouldn't work though. Then again, I do seem to remember something about Python not really liking bools very well. So if you set it to 0 and 1, that should function like a bool check. It just wouldn't literally be a bool check. But I'm also not sure if that's good enough for what you're trying to do. In any case, so we have a callback here. All right, and then where's my close? So I have to override, right? So we're going to say override close. Say if is open. And then we'll say if close callback does not equal null. Close callback. Cool. And now we'll go over here. So when we say when we open our CG underscore interaction view, we're going to pass generate interactions as a callback, and that will force a refresh of all of our objects. All right. So, interaction prefab. I'm guessing this has a delete button, and it does not. Oh, right, because we wouldn't want it to be deleted, but we might want it to be removed. You know what? It's probably fine. No. So I was originally thinking I would put the delete button next to the name, so the label that you see for the interaction. But it might be better for you to click on the interaction itself to bring up some summary of it, and then you have to hit delete there. So it's not a separate menu. It's in the same area, but it's where that white space was on the right side of the menu. So to show you what that looks like, go ahead and open up our UI. Open you up. And Unity has to compile, so. All right. Let's go ahead and say select. Let's see, map view, custom game map view. Let's go ahead and pop this up. So essentially, oh, that's the actual map. That's not what I want. Rooms, here we are. So essentially, let's go ahead and open up our submenu for interactions. So this white space over here is going to get filled up with basic information about the interaction. So probably its type and description. I don't know what else I would do. And then we'll have a delete button somewhere over here, or remove from room. That basically lets you remove that object from the room. All right, let's go ahead and delete this. Well, yeah, that's fine. Let's go ahead and delete this, and we'll disable our UI. Save. All right. So we're going to want to say generate interactions. Oh man. Hold on. I need to check something. Interactive object, my reset. I need to make sure that reset here clears our actual values. All right, so I'm going to say this dot object name, I believe. Yeah. And this dot object name lower needs to also be set to that. Cool. So is that 0 and 1 interpretation? Does that work all right for you? For your admitted check? Let's see. So object name lower, that stuff's all good. Cool. So the reason I have to set this is because I have a convenience variable called name, and that caches its information in object name, and it will just return object name if it's not empty like this. So I need to make sure that I reset that when I reset the object. In any case, let's go ahead and go back here. So generating interactions. This is where it's going to get interesting. Custom room. This has information on my rooms. Good. Actually, I need to go to room info. All right. So I'm going to need to say public list. Nope. IDs. So ints interactions is equal to new list int. That's all good. So we have to have a list of our interactions, and that's just going to be a list of IDs because everything else can be retrieved from the actual objects themselves. All right, go here, definition. Let's go ahead and say public const string room interactions. Save that out. All right. So we have our exits. I'm going to come down here and we're going to say JSON array. Room interactions is equal to JSON.get array. Is this right? Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Dot get array and then custom content utility dot room underscore interactions. A new JSON array. Oops. All right, and then for into I equals 0, I is less than room interactions. Oops. Room interactions dot length I plus plus. All right, so for that we're going to need to say interactions dot add room interactions dot get int value at index of I. So it's just going to be an array of int values basically. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to say if interactions dot count is greater than 0, JSON array interactions JSON is equal to new JSON array, then JSON dot add custom content utility dot room underscore interactions and interactions JSON. All right, and then we just got to loop through. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than. Actually, you know what? I can do it even easier than that. I think I should be able to just actually pass interactions. Ha! Yes. Sweet. Super easy. Oh, I can even shorten that more. I can just do this. That is even easier. All right. So that should get saving and loading the actual interactions set up properly. And that means that when we come over to room interaction menu, come over here. So we're going to get our ID, and then we're going to say room, current room, yeah, dot interactions, dot add ID. And as, that should be fine. I was going to say as a safety measure, maybe I should just say if it doesn't already contain, it should be impossible though. Okay, we should be fine. All right. What do I need to do next? All right. So we're going to need to say for int I is equal to 0, I is less than current room. Oops. Room dot interactions dot count I plus plus plus. All right. I have an interaction prefab. Good, good, good. And I believe, let me peek this definition. Set info. That's not particularly nice now, is it? That's somewhat irrelevant, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of is. But I suppose we can go ahead and peek at this. I think that was me getting ahead of myself. I didn't really need to do all that. So I set up an information class, but it's not exactly relevant, really. Let me go ahead and peek that. Because I can just store all this information ahead of time, so yeah. Yeah, I don't really need you then. So let's go ahead and let's close you. I'm going to go to this class real quick. And we're going to go ahead and add another set info. So we're going to say public void set info. And where are you even being used? You're not being used anywhere. Okay. So we're going to have, well, I don't need the int ID. So I guess we'll need a string for label and then a CG interaction type. Interaction type. Cool. And then I can just say this dot label dot text is equal to label. Then icon dot sprite is equal to all of this. All right. And this is going to be type. Nice. And now we should be able to just go back here to interaction menu, and we're going to say custom room, interaction button, new button is equal to, not parabox, pool manager dot request, custom room interaction button, interaction prefab, and its parent is going to be interactions. Oh, that wasn't a comma, that was a period. Interactions grid. Okay. Then we're going to say new button dot set info. So we need an ID, which is going to be current room dot interactions of I, followed by let me think. Okay. Well, that should. Yeah, we'll put it in the custom game author session for now. I'm going to add a function that will basically give me a type for the interaction that you're trying to get. So I'm going to say public CG underscore interaction type get interaction type int ID. So we're going to say interactive object IO is equal to get interaction ID. And so if IO is item, then we will return interaction type dot item. Otherwise, we are just going to return basic by default. Simple as that. So we're just going to say author session dot get interaction type, and then current room dot interactions of I. Cool. Why are you mad? From int to string. Oh. Dang it, of course. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and say author session dot get interaction. Oh, dang it, I did that backwards, didn't I? Hold on. Author session dot get interaction. All that stuff, then dot name. Cool. And finally, we're going to say, actually, you know what, I'm also going to just kind of be lazy here. I'm going to go ahead and say int ID is equal to this so that I don't have to friggin' keep typing it. Okay. Shorten that down to ID. And I have to do that anyway because I have to do an event listener here. So I'm going to say new button dot add on click dot add listener delegate. Got some stuff to do here, and then we're going to say on interaction clicked ID. Sweet. And the last thing to do here is I need a list. So I need to come up here and say using not sleepy owl. System. Come on, you can do this. System.collections.generic. All right, we need a list for our spawned buttons. So we're gonna say private list custom room interaction button spawned. We'll just call it interaction buttons. Interaction buttons is equal to new list. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and say interaction buttons dot add new button. All right, I think we're good. So the next thing I want to do here is go to my CG interaction view, and we have to refresh our information. So let me go to interaction overview, go to definition, repeat definition. Do I have a refresh function? I do, but it's not doing anything right now. Well, actually, I don't. So I need to add one. So we're going to say public abstract void refresh info, and that's going to take an interactive object interaction. All right, find all references here. It should just be the 2. That's good. This is the interaction info menu, so we're going to say public override refresh info. Get rid of view. Get rid of this. So we're going to say actually, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say go to definition here. We're going to have a protected interactive object current interaction, and we'll call it actually current basic interaction, because I'm probably also going to need private, or not private, sorry, protected item, current item interaction. You know what, we'll just call it current item and then current interaction. All right, so this is actually going to change from an abstract to a virtual. Go ahead and do this, and we're going to say current interaction is equal to interaction if interaction is item, current item is equal to interaction as item. All right, and let's see. So over here, we're going to want to do base dot refresh info interaction. So it's going to set up our references to the object, and now I can do stuff like, let's see, CG interaction string field. Oh, that's the prefab, right. Let's see here. Actually, no, I'm not going to worry about this right now. I'm going to go ahead and do the overridden menus, or the overview menus. Sorry. So let's see, interaction submenu, find all references. Here we are. So I'm going to want to do override or refresh info, and this should allow me to fill in information. So let's see here. Type label will be the first. Type label is equal to interact. Actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and say type label is equal to current item is equal to null, question mark. If so, we're going to say CG underscore interaction type dot basic toString else all of this fun stuff, but for item. So item dot toString. Why are you mad? Oh, right, because it's probably that, isn't Oh, no, it's because I didn't do .text. Back. All right, so that's the type label. Next, we're going to want to have our description. So we're going to go ahead and say description label .text is equal to current interaction .description. Oh. Yeah, description is fine. Import path label. We don't really. Crap. So our current setup right now will not let us save that import path information, which, I mean, that's not the end of the world, really, but it is notable. I'm going to leave it alone for now. And that's all we really care about, I guess, here. So let's go ahead and go back to get rid of view. Where are you? CG interaction view. Do I have a refresh function? I don't. Well, I'm having one now. So private void refresh interaction info. And we are setting target object. Good. So let's see. We have a reference, or we should. We don't. I will add one, I guess. So we're going to go ahead and say public text mesh pro UGUI object name label. So in refresh, we're going to say object name label is equal to current target object dot name. Then we will also say oh, right. I keep forgetting to do .text. What is wrong with me today? Now we're going to need to say overview menu and info menu. So overview menu dot refresh info target object and info menu dot refresh info target object. All right. So that should somewhat set things up to be as expected. So let's go ahead and real quick. Where are we? I don't think we need you open anymore, and I don't think we need you open anymore. So we're gonna come up here, custom interaction menu, on interaction clicked, go to definition. So on interaction clicked, we're actually going to go ahead and say pretty much this. Actually, that's not entirely true. So we're not going to do anything right now on click. We don't actually want to open up the interaction editing menu. We want to do that if you click on an edit button or something. When you click on an interaction there, it should instead populate basic information about the object on the right side of that menu. But in any case, so right now, I think we should be able to actually create and load information about the object per room. I'm hoping. So we're going to try to make two different objects, one in one room and one in another room, and then we're going to see if we can get that to properly update. Maybe. I will be quite surprised if we do, but we'll see. Because we still gotta test our UI for the like the name interactions and all that. It's not really set up, I don't think. So let's go ahead and click through this. We can actually maximize on play now that we know that it works. So start. Let's go to extras, author mode, create, Zork, map. Go to interactions, add interaction. You did not work. Oh, dang it! It's because, of course I did. Wait, what the frig is going on here? Why is hold on. Refresh info. What on earth am I even doing with refresh info there? Well, whatever. The problem was that I forgot to call refresh here. So, you say refresh interaction info. Set that. Come back here. And I guess that's not too bad that I messed up there because I actually need to do something to our menu, which is assign our reference there. Otherwise, we're going to get a null reference. Of course, once Unity compiles, I'll be able to do that. Until then, I'm stuck. All right. So, custom game interaction. Let's go ahead and just turn this on. Content overview. These are all disabled. That's fine. Object name. Grab this label. And let's go ahead and just apply. Cool. Let's go ahead and save. Start, extras, author mode, create, Zork, map, interactions, add interaction. Cool. So you can see that it populated it all. Let's go ahead and go over here. Oh, our description probably should have been filled in there. And then, yeah, our names are currently not being filled in. So I actually don't remember if I even set this up. So we're going to call this like test. Oh, I can't do spaces. Ooh. That's not great. Test object, add, and nothing. Well, that's disappointing. Okay. So it partially does it. Let's go ahead and close. So we have an object. And close, come down here to room 2. Wow, what the heck? Ooh. Let's go ahead and stop this. Custom room interaction menu on close. Do I do anything? That's actually not what I want. Where are you? Interaction overview menu. Interaction info menu. All right. Let's see. Description field is equal to dot text is equal to interaction dot description. And I guess that's all we really care about. So, yeah, okay. All right. Sorry, I'm currently trying to think through like 7 steps at the same time. So, hello, Jelmega. Welcome back. How are you doing today? Although I guess there it is. So my containers are finally done. Currently working on a custom string. Nice, making progress. Well, we are currently getting interactions in custom games to be set up. Not actually interacted with, but set up. The actual interaction part should come fairly quickly, I think. It's about setting them all up is the nightmare. All right, so what else do we need to do here? So should I come up with a custom script for this? Kind of feel like I should, but I also don't know really where it's going to be relevant. So, nope. Okay. Let me think. Ah, excuse me. God, this complicates things so much. Ah. All right. So I think I'm going to make a custom script for that. So let's go ahead and let that compile, and then we're going to open up our UI. So I'm going to make a, not really a submenu, more like a menu component to basically handle, let's go to content info. I'm going to make something that basically will handle this whole thing. So whenever you type in a string here, it needs to enable the add button here, and if there's nothing in here, the add button should be disabled. Once you click add, it should make a new entry here that you can see and edit. And I don't want to, I was thinking about maybe making it reorderable, but I'm not going to worry about that. So yeah, I'm going to make basically like a quick little script to handle that component interaction, because it's already in two spots, so I'd hate to have to duplicate code. And this is the sort of thing that might actually be used multiple times again, so I'm going to go ahead and just make a script for that. Let's see here, so open that up. Let's go to adjectives, and, well, let's go over here to custom game interaction, come down here. Let's go ahead and say create C# script, and we're going to have string, well, first off, CG underscore string, no, not even string, maybe input, components, no, input, it's not input fields, that's misleading, because input fields are text input fields. What should I call it? Element inputs, I guess. It's not really great. Element input area. Not exactly. That's all right. That's fine. So let's go ahead and do that. That is a terrible name, but I honestly just can't think of. I can't think of a better one. So let's go ahead and open this up. All right. So we're gonna need using Unity Engine.ui, also using TM Pro, and that should be good for now. Actually, no, we're gonna need to say using sleepyl.common, and that's because this has to be changed to text quest namespace. Cool. So we're going to need public button, add element button, and we'll just call it the add button. All right. Public scroll rect, scroll area, public rect transform, scroll grid, then public tmp underscore input field, and I need a prefab that I can properly initialize. So I'm going to need another script actually. That's going to be CG element input area element. Ew. Ah, jeez. That's such a hideous name. I call it just like CG input area element. Ugh. I really don't like that. CG input area element. I really, really just don't like that. Oh, dang it, I did CD. Of course I did. I don't know what it is today, but for some reason I'm having more trouble than usual typing. Like I just seem to be all over the place. It's weird. Let's go ahead and delete that. Now we have to wait for Unity to compile, so I'm going to take a drink real quick. All right. Let's try that again. So create C# script. Are you kidding me? How the freak did it get put in a complete... Whatever. CG underscore input area element. Of course, it somehow got friggin' put up here. Thank you, Unity lag. And now if I move it, it's going to complain at me. Because it hasn't... Are you serious? What is going on? It keeps making me grab the wrong thing. There. No, no, it did it again. It moved freaking... Alright. So this time, touch, grab, there. And then, of course, it tried to put it back. It's... I don't know why Unity's fighting me so hard on this. It really did not want this script to go in there. Oh, man. Finally. Jeez. That was unnecessarily difficult. Go ahead and let's compile. Reload. Let's go ahead and close some things that we don't need right now. Game session, interaction view, I'm probably going to need soon. Custom room interaction menu. You're fine for now. Interactive object is fine for now. Alright, let's go ahead and open that up. Cool. So this is also going to be in the TextQuest namespace. It's going to need using Unity engine.ui for a button, and then using tmpro for an input field. So rack. This is going to be interesting. Button. Public tmp underscore input field. Input field. Public. Oh wait, no. No, I don't even need that. There we go. Because we're not going to have the delete button in this element anymore. It's going to be off to the side as a manual delete. Unity doesn't always work as expected. Yeah, that's true. I have found that it's a really infuriating thing that it does, where sometimes your click is not immediately registered. Instead, there's like a half-second delay. So if you click and then start to drag, it will actually click like on the second or third object away from where you wanted to be. And then you'll be dragging around all sorts of things that make no sense, like what I just had to go through. And I don't know what causes that inconsistency. Well, I have theories, and most of the time it tends to be when you have Unity lag for a little bit, which is usually done, when it's done compiling or recompiling things. But it's just infuriating that it does that. So, in any case, let's go ahead and say public. Well, I don't really have much on here. Well, no, we'll go ahead and say public void set label, or set label. Set input text. String value, and we're also going to have some events here. So we're going to need to say public delegate void on edit, I suppose. String value public event. No, I did that completely wrong. Edit event. Edit event on edit is equal to delegate. I call that bad design. Yeah, it's definitely one of the more frustrating problems that you can run into. Especially because, again, you saw that like I was obviously not clicking on those scripts, and it caused visual confusion. Well, I guess you couldn't see it, but it was very obviously confusing what was happening, and it took me a second to realize that it was an issue I've seen before, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. In any case, set input text, and we're going to go ahead and come down here to private void awake, and All right. And last thing is private void on name. Oh no, on input. Input edited string value. And we'll say on edit value. That should work. All right, so I'm going to say input field dot on end. Wait, what? Oh, dang it. Input field. There we go. Dot on end edit. Dot add listener on input edited. And for set input text, we're basically going to remove that event listener and then reapply it so that I can set that text without sending an event. So we're going to go ahead and say input field dot text is equal to value. We're going to say remove all listeners. Be good there. I'll add it back. Cool. Let's see here. So we need to go to CG interaction. Nope. Where are you? Wait, what? Did I close it by accident? I guess I did. All right. Well, that's not infuriating. CG interaction view. Go to open here. Find all references. I need this script. All right. Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. I was doing the wrong thing here. Yeah, I was doing the wrong thing. Let's see, where are you? Element input area. There we go. Put these back to back. So now I do need the button. So public button delete button. And then public, well, before we do that, public delegate void element event CG underscore input area element and public event element event, and we'll say on delete is equal to delegate. So when you click the delete button, this will send out an event that it should be deleted. We're going to come down here, private void on delete, clicked on delete, pass this. All right, so now we can go back here. And we're going to say public CG underscore input area element prefab. Cool. So let's see here. We are actually going to also need to use system.collections. We have to have a coroutine. And we have to have a coroutine because our scroll grid needs to be reset after you populate a value or remove one. So actually, no, it's only when you add a new one. But we have to have a frame delay before we can do anything. It's rather annoying, actually. So we're going to go ahead and say private enumerator scroll delay, not decay, delay, then yield return null, and then we'll just say scroll area dot normalized vertical normalized position is equal to 1f. That ensures that the newest element is in view, so it'll scroll it all the way to the bottom. All right, let's see, what else do I need to do? Private void awake, and then private void on, what do I want to do here? On add clicked, that's one we'll need. Then private void on input validated string value. All right, and sorry, I'm thinking of all the event functions that I need. Private void on element deleted. That's going to be element. Hold on. CG underscore. Wow. CG underscore input area element. You see what I'm talking about though when I can't type today. I don't know what it is. And we'll need one for on edit, and that means I actually need to change this. So this is actually going to be different. So we're going to convert that to an element event. It's going to pass this. All right, so we're going to go up to here. So instead of on input validated, oh wait, no, actually we do need that still. Private void on element edited, and then CG underscore input area element. And the reason that I have to pass the element itself is because I need to get its index so that I can set a value on the interactive object that's using this particular thing. Although, piece of crap, I forgot this is a component, which means that I can't know specifics, which means that I have to pass generic event information. Wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Let's see here. So we're going to have to send events here. I love it when we have nested events. So public delegate void element event, and that will send out an int index and then a string value, I think is what we're going to want. So we're going to say public event element event on element edited is equal to delegate. It's all fine. And then public event element event on element deleted delegate. And then we're also actually going to need one for public event element event on element added is equal to delegate. Cool. So now we should have 3 different events. The element edited will obviously fire when you edit a expected value. Do I have it pulled up right now? Yeah. So when you edit a name that already exists, it will let the object that you are currently inspecting, it will let it know that it needs to change its name to be whatever you edited. And if it'll let it know which specific name it needs to change. When you add one, it'll let the object know that it needs to add a name with a specific value. And when you delete one, same thing. Oh, right. Well, that's fine. We'll just go ahead and do this. All right. That was a lot. Let's go ahead. We're also going to need to say public void refresh. And we'll go ahead and say refresh elements. And that is going to take a list of strings. And apparently I'm not using system, so using system.collections.generic. I apologize that it seems like we're not really doing much today. Like, it's a lot of me sort of rambling and saying these are going to be related. But we're pretty close to a point where it should actually be visible. So hopefully by the end of today, we won't have actual interactions set up in the sense that you can, go test your game and interact with objects, but we will have interactions populated. So you'll actually be able to set up interactions in the sense of creating objects and setting their information. So that means that hopefully we can get that done this week, and then next week we can move on to actual interactions in the room or in the rooms. So at that point, our custom game will almost be done. Well, not really. We'll probably only about like 60 or 70%, not even 70, probably like 50 or 60% done right now. In any case, so we're going to refresh elements, and before we do that, we're going to go ahead and say private void clear elements. Not clear elements, clear elements. And then we're also going to need to have a list here. So private list of CG input area element. We'll say elements is equal to new. All right, I'm going to change this to element names. There we go. So we're going to clear elements on refresh. For that means we're going to say for int I is equal to 0, I is less than elements dot count I plus plus. And at the very end here, we're just going to say clear elements. I'm sorry, not clear elements. We're just going to say elements dot clear. All right. Let's see. So elements of I dot, what are our events here? On delete and on edit, right? So dot on edit minus equal. Oh, I'm not actually doing anything with it right now, but it will be minus equal on element edited, then elements of I dot on element, on delete minus equals on element deleted. Okay, so pretty simple there. And then we essentially need to go through and say for I is equal to 0, I is less than element names dot count I plus plus. I thought about making a text-based RPG, but never really started on it. Yeah. Are you thinking like Mud style, where it's largely open-ended and people can kind of set up their own adventures, or are you thinking of doing something extra? Or something besides just the actual text-based stuff? Okay, so element names here, we're going to go ahead and say CG underscore input area element, new, we'll just call it element. Element is equal to pool manager dot request CG input area element, and then element prefab, comma, scroll grid. Say okay there. And once we have that, we're going to say element dot set input text element names of I, and then elements dot add element. Once that's all done, we're going to go ahead and do start coroutine, scroll delay. All right. Oh, and before I forget, we need to say element. Also, did I make this a button? You actually don't need to just be mono behavior. And then we can change that to base. Private. There we go. Let's go back here. So element dot on edit plus equals on element edited, and then element dot on delete plus equals on element deleted. Not sure. Yeah. Yeah, text-based RPG could be interesting. What I did think about is instead of you typing, having buttons with possible choices. I'm not even sure what I would make it. Oh, so more like a choose your own adventure style thing. Uh, that actually sounds like a Twine game almost, where you have a. It's not unusual for there to be text-based Twine adventure games, where you. I mean, Twine is text-based, but you could have an RPG built-in Twine that would basically do pretty much anything you would expect from a text-based RPG. I don't know if I don't know how well it would turn out. I don't particularly like Twine. In fact, I have an irrational hatred of it. Um, but it would actually that seems right up Twine's alley. In any case, so refresh elements. That's all correct. All right. So let's go ahead and say at the end of this, when we call refresh, we will also say input field dot text is equal to nothing, and add button dot interactable is equal to false. Okay. So on add clicked, we will say we're gonna go have a private. So private void add element string value. Okay. So that should be good. So on add clicked, we're gonna say add element, and then input field dot text. I guess there's no real reason for me to even have this. Yeah, I can get rid of that. So we're just going to go ahead and say cg input area element is equal to, we're just going to copy this, same thing. And then element dot set input text, input field dot text. And what else do we need to do? On element. Oh, sorry, not on element needed. On. Okay, I apparently can't remember my own friggin' names. So element added, right? Element added, and then that's gonna be. Let me see. Elements dot count -1 followed by string value, which is just going to be the input field dot text. Okay, there should be good. And then we're also going to want to say input field dot text is equal to nothing after you hit add. Tried Twine, did not like it, too limited, or you need to start using the awful language that is JavaScript. Yeah, I don't know what it is exactly, but for some reason Twine just brings out an irrational hatred in me. Like I have really tried to play games using Twine, or that use Twine when they were being made, and it just, the moment I boot one up, I'm like, this was made in Twine. I hate it. It's disgusting, and it's just. I have no reason to be like that. It's just some weird thing about me. Like I just instantly know, and I'm like, Twine. I don't know. In any case, so element added, and what else do I need to do? Oh, right. We're gonna go ahead and say add button dot interactable is equal to false. All right. So we're almost done here, and on input validated. So the input validated stuff is just going to make sure that we have our add button only be clickable when there is actual information in the field. So we're going to say if value dot is null or empty, add button dot interactable is equal to false. Else add button dot interactable is equal to true. All right. on element edited, this is pretty much just a pass-through thing, so we're going to say element edited, and then let's see, so that would be elements dot index of element followed by element dot input field dot text. Okay, same thing for deleted. All right, and then actually once we do that, we should probably say elements dot remove element. And we also need to go ahead and do all the fun stuff. So we're going to say elements, element, get rid of that, and we'll go ahead and say pool manager dot recycle element dot game object. Cool. Could probably do the cached stuff, so let me set that up real quick. Private game object, cached game object, and public game object, cached game object. This is just to reduce garbage generation. Cached game object, question mark, cached game object, cached game object is equal to game object. And that's because Unity, every time you call just regular .game object like this, Unity generates a small amount of garbage. So by caching it, you're getting rid of that problem. So we're just going to say cached game object. I've thought about Unity, but not sure. Or I can always make it on my engine in the future. That's true. I guess that would be a pretty good test of your engine to make sure that everything actually works. Making a simple text-based game. In any case, let's see, on element deleted. Once we do that, do I want to? That should be fine. I was gonna say maybe I should scroll, but it should be fine. On element added, then we need to do the scroll routine. That much is definitely true. All right. Now we can set up all of our event listeners. So we're going to need to say add button dot on click dot add listener on add clicked, and then input field dot on validate input dot add listener. Oh crap! Hold on. Dot on. Yeah. Oh jeez. Maybe not. On in. Dang it! I hate it when it does that. Input field. There we go. I was referencing the class. It drives me nuts when it does that. On deselect. On end edit. I don't know if it should be on end edit. I kind of need it to just always be true. So on. I want to say it's on validate input, right? Or actually, you know what? On value changed. That should work. On value changed. Dot add listener. On input validated. Yeah, that should be good. I'm also going to rename that to, instead of validated, on input changed. All right. So that, I think, should be everything that we need. But now we can go ahead and set up these actual components to make them work. And then we're going to have to hook them into the larger menu. And then we should be good. Eh? Wait, what? Come on. Compile. Okay, never mind. It was a false flag. I was going to say, how can I still have an error? I fixed that. All right. So, let's see here. Get rid of you. We're going to go to names here, inspector, and we're going to want to say CG element input area. So there's our scroll rect. There's our grid. Let's go to our input field. So there's our input field. There's our add button. And now we need a prefab. But before we can do that, we're going to have to... Actually, didn't I already make a prefab for something like this? Yeah, I did, right there. Hooray! So I don't even need to do that. Hooray! Let's get rid of you, get rid of you. Get rid of all y'all. Aw. Aw. It's everything that I need it to be, but I just didn't do it. Oi. It's actually less robust than what I just wrote, so... Although it would have been a nice starting base, so... I just completely forgot that I made that, apparently. Hooray. Well, that's fine. I can still change this. So let's go ahead and say input area element. Come on. Same stuff for the most part. So there's our delete button. There's our input field. Now we can remove you. I'm not using you for anything, right? Good. Let's go ahead and come up here to names. Put you in there. Interaction string field. That's not bad. Alright, so that's our names area, and now we can do pretty much the same thing. So let's copy this for our adjectives. Paste component is new. I just have a couple of changes to make here. So adjective scroll, adjectives grid. Actually, I have all changes to make here. Input field and button. Cool. So now those are sub-components, basically, of a menu, so we can just reference those. That way our menu code doesn't just spiral out to be this monster. All right, so we're going to go up here, and we need to go to interaction info menu, I believe. Yep. All right, so we're going to need, instead of all of this information, we're going to need to say public. Oh, crap, you know what I probably... Oh, no, I did. Good. So we need public CG underscore, if I could spell public, CG underscore element input area, names area, I guess. Let's go ahead and copy that, paste it in adjectives, rename this to adjectives area. All right, so on refresh info, we're going to say, before we get to the description, we're going to say names area dot refresh elements, and we're going to say interaction dot names. That should be good enough for now. Then names area, I'm sorry, not names area. Adjectives area dot refresh elements, interaction dot adjectives. Okay. Lastly, we need to actually set up our description to be changeable, so we're going to go ahead and say wow, I cannot type. Private void on description edited string value, and we'll just say current interaction dot description is equal to value. All right, then private, actually, do I have override awake? I do not. That's good. Private void awake. All right, we're going to say disk field dot on end edit dot add listener on description edited. Okay, we're good there. And yeah, we got a lot to do there, so this is gonna suck. All right, so private void on name added int index and then string value, I believe is what we want. Let me make sure that I'm correct there. So we're going to say name area. Oops. Name area. Okay. What are you doing? Names area. Dot element added plus equals on name added. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and copy that. Boop and boop. So edited and deleted. All right. So let's see here. So on name added, we're just going to go ahead and say current interaction dot names dot add value. Simple as that. On name edited, we're going to say current interaction dot names of index is equal to value. And on name deleted, we're just going to say current interaction dot names dot remove at index. Okay. So we're going to need that 3 times. Well, we need it twice, one for names and one for adjectives. So on adjective added, or edited, and then deleted. Adjectives. Go ahead and set this up. All right. So names area dot element edited plus equals on name edited names area dot element deleted plus equals on name deleted. So yeah, you can see that it's much less cluttered to have these sort of subcomponents be our handle the bulk of our interaction for us. Otherwise, I would have had to have had this chunk of this chunk of code basically doubled, and that wouldn't really be that fun. So it's nice having it be a little bit more isolated. All right, so we're going to copy that, paste this in as adjectives area, paste that in, paste you, and paste you in. All right. And what else do I need to do here? Well, we can get rid of all of this. So that will shorten up our inspector significantly. We also don't need you anymore, so we can get rid of you. Cool. And while we're at it, I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at our interaction screen field, find all references. Okay, so we're not doing anything that references it, so we're going to delete this script. Well, I will as soon as I can actually do stuff in Unity again. All right. Delete. Yep, we don't need it anymore because our input area element has taken over for that. Let that compile. And we should also take a look at our sub object for our info view. All right, so we got to drag this stuff in. And cool. So, are we good to test? We might be good to test. Ooh, maybe we are. Actually, before we actually test, I do need to go to where are you? CG interaction view, find all references. I do need to go here to our custom room interaction menu, and in override, actually no, that doesn't make sense. Oh, right. Okay, so I need to go to custom game map. Oh, no, not that. Custom room, is that what I called it? Custom room view. There we go. So when we open this up, it's supposed to show just our info menu, but I probably need to make sure that it closes everything else. So we'll go ahead and say, what are our other menus? Audio, interactions, and logic menu. All right, so audio menu dot hide, just hide, not hide flags. We're just going to copy that 2 times. Interactions menu and logic menu. Logic menu, hide, and interactions menu dot hide. Cool. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then in our custom room interaction menu on hide, I'll go ahead and say override hide. We'll do if is open base.hide, and we'll also go ahead and say clear interactions from here. Oh, that's why it was okay. So for clear interactions, I need to say hold on. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than interaction buttons dot count I plus plus. At the very end here, we're going to say interaction buttons dot clear, and in the middle of that, we're going to go ahead and say interaction buttons dot on click. Oh, hold on. Sorry, interaction buttons of I dot on click dot remove all listeners. All right, and then finally we will say pool manager dot recycle interaction buttons. Interaction buttons of I dot game object. And that should do what I'm expecting. Yeah, it should. All right. We should be good, I think. At least I hope so. Oh, and actually, you know what? On open, I'm going to need to do stuff. So give me a second here. So override show. If not is open, we're going to show. And in addition to that, we will go ahead and say generate interactions. Okay. Cool. All right. I think we're good. Whew. That was a ton of stuff. God, we just like did an hour solid of coding, not even testing anything. That is the extent of what we have to do to even be able to test this stuff. Okay. So let's go ahead and that's all set up. Yep. You're all set up. Yep. Okay. Turn you off. Hit save, and then I need to look at our custom room. Is there anything in here that I don't have? Nope. Okay. So let's try this. So if all goes well, what this should allow us to do is essentially load the object's names and adjectives and actually adjust them. then save them back out. So I feel like actually I probably missed a refresh. Like I probably should have an extra refresh in there. But we'll see how this turns out first. So start, oh, and I spelled start wrong. Extras, author mode, create, Zork, map, start room. Let's go to interactions. Alrighty then. Wait a second. I don't, huh. Well, we can't really do anything with that, so we're just gonna let that go. Okay. Yeah, we got a null reference. Oh, right. Stop playing. So yeah, what happened is that we saved the room ID because we actually have saved up, or we have set up saving interaction IDs within the room, but we haven't set up saving the interactions themselves. So I probably should actually have a safety check here anyway, where I can say, let's see, if author session dot get interaction, we'll just say ID. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. We'll put that up at the very top, and then we'll say that. Stop it. So if get interaction ID, which should return null by default, yep, if there's nothing there, is equal to null, then we will say continue. So we'll skip all that fun stuff. So that should fix that little problem. All right. Whew, custom games, man. So much stuff you have to plan for. But I am hoping that the end result will be worth it. I mean, after all, having a system to make custom text-based adventures that can be shared easily with other people seems like it would be nice. So let's go to extras, author mode, create, Zork. Plus, I honestly just want to know what the setup is for allowing custom games, because I would like to, if at all possible, allow this in pretty much every game that I work on. Some sort of custom game or custom editor thing. Interactions. Okay, so nothing happened because nothing exists. Well, something did exist, but we didn't need it because it didn't exist yet. As confusing as that is. So add interaction. Oh, fudge. Right. Give me a second. Let's see. We don't need custom room interaction menu right now. Instead, we need CG element input area. We don't need you or you right now. Interaction view. So we call refresh interaction. Go down here. Let's go to refresh on the info view. Go to definition. So we're going to go ahead and say override show if not is open. Base.show. So we can't actually refresh info here unless we're open. So I'm going to go ahead and say if is open, because otherwise that's going to try to start coroutines, and we don't want that. So we have to make sure that that will only happen on, or when the menu is open. Then we're also going to go ahead and say it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? It's kind of pointless to refresh this info when, well, no, that's not. It's not entirely true, I guess. So I guess I'll just say. All right. Thanks for stopping by, Jilmega. Good luck on your custom string implementation. Okay. So we need this to refresh info here. I'm not crazy about doing that, but current interaction. I feel like I probably should just have another function called refresh info that doesn't have parameters, and that can just sort of refresh itself. Actually, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? So let's go to definition here. So we're going to have another one called public virtual void refresh info. And this one does not have any sort of information in it by default. Like, it's not going to deal with our current interaction or anything like that. So we'll just call refresh info at the end here. That's going to be virtual, and then we'll go to info menu. We'll change this because we don't actually need our base interaction there. And I mean, that's fine. We'll change this to current interaction. Current interaction and current interaction. Get rid of you. That's all good. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. Cool. So that was good. Let's go ahead and try that out now. So that should avoid those two coroutine errors. And then we should be good for spawning names in. Hopefully. Alright. Go ahead and hit play. Either way, we'll probably call it a day after this. Let's go ahead and say start. Extras, author mode, create, Zork, map. Fractions. Moment of truth. Yes! Alright. So awesome. Oh, that's so awesome. And we can change it too. So let's change this to object 2 and hit enter. Let's go back here to overview. Let's close. Did not work. Let's go ahead and pause. Pool manager. Oh, it did. Okay. So, okay, let's go ahead and close this and open it back up. Go to our interactions. Why do I have 2? I don't know why I have 2. That's not great. That's actually incredibly infuriating. Why do I have 2? So we do actually have it editing our values. Let's go ahead and add an interaction. We'll go here to dang it. Are you serious? It's not opening the right ones. Okay. Oh, that's even worse. I have 3 here. Yeah. Great. Okay, well, let's fix this real quick. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It's like things didn't really get recycled. So here, refresh elements, go to definition, clear elements. Oh, that's a problem, obviously. So elements of I dot cached game object. That was the last half of a thing that I'm going to do. Pool manager recycle. Do that. So that was part of the problem. I forgot to recycle all that information. But also our custom room interaction is not correct. So let's go to interactions menu, go to definition. So generate interactions. We should clear interactions, which requires us recycling the game object. And then when we add an interaction, we should add new interaction, interactions.add ID. Oh, I don't, that's weird. No, that should be correct. So we don't actually add the interaction itself until we come back from our interaction menu, because then it refreshes the entire, it should refresh the entire interactions list. So, okay. Interaction ID.name, that should be correct. And interaction clicked. Let's go ahead and come up here to element input area. Element prefab. So I was hitting delete and nothing was happening, but that could be because it wasn't actually looking at that. So let's go ahead and try that again. I'm a little curious as to how we have duplicate object names. Because let's go ahead and start here. When it refreshes the page, it should have a new name. Oh no, it won't. Oh no, it won't. Ugh. Great. Shite. Okay. So what's happening is the name, it's the problem that I brought up halfway through the stream today, actually. The cached object name is not being cleared, which means that when it tries to grab the name, it's going to use the legacy name because we didn't actually reset the object. And we don't really want to reset the object. Instead, we want to just set the name. So that's not particularly great. Frack. Okay, for now, I guess we won't worry about it, but that is something that I'm going to have to do or handle at some point. So let's go ahead and add an interaction. Come over here to info. Let's go ahead and change our object name to object2. Let's just add an adjective, so we'll call it red. Okay. If I tried to get rid of, of course not. Okay, so on delete is apparently not working. Unless I was stupid. Entirely possible. Entirely possible. Big definition. And there it is. I didn't put the delete button because I am stupid. Alright. So let's go ahead and close this. We have 3. Oh. No way. I think I know what's happening. I bet it's giving us... Yep. Although, why do we have 3 when we should only have 2? Okay, so I theorized that we were doubling up here, but I don't know why we have 3. That's super odd. Well, either way, that means that, yes, we can go ahead and say peak definition here, scroll down here, and we're going to say delete button dot on click dot add listener on delete clicked. Okay, simple as that. And we're also going to want to, let's see, custom room view. No, it's going to be the same thing, isn't it? So let's get rid of view, room interaction menu, and where? Here we are. So we're going to say, I guess, if current room dot contains dot interactions dot contains ID. So if it doesn't already contain that, then we will add it. So that should deal with our duplicate problem. At least I'm hopeful that it will. We might be borked already because of this, although that's nothing that a little manual editing can't fix. All right, so we should be in a spot now where we can actually edit all of that information, and it should semi-correctly present it to us. So once we just do a quick dry run of this, that'll probably be a good place to stop for the day. 2.5 hours of pretty much almost solid coding again. But at least we're getting to the point where you can test things now, so it's not quite as frustrating. So interactions, add interaction. All right. So get rid of you. Good. Rename you to object 2. Have an adjectives called blue. Add that. And let's change our description to a test custom object. That is, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I can't do spaces. I can't do periods. Okay. It's just alphanumeric, isn't it? Yep. Okay. We'll just do that then. Fine. Bit myself in the... Alright, so let's go ahead and close. So that's obviously not going to be correct, but if we go down here to our custom game basic interaction pool, object 2, blue, a test custom object 2. Cool. So that is that is a decent place to stop for the day. So we have objects spawning in, and their information is being set. We are also recording interactions per room right now. So in the future, we'll be able to actually say, okay, you're entering this room. This room has these interactions. We're loading those up so you can interact with them. So that shouldn't be too hard to do once we actually get everything set up as far as actually populating information within the interactive objects themselves. And if we look at this, we should see interactions 0. That's good. So we should be in a good spot. Real quick before I forget, I will change that description view. So let's go ahead and go to where are you? Custom game interaction. Let's see. So info, description input. So instead of alphanumeric, let's just do standard. We'll do multi-line, new line, I suppose. And then we can hit apply on that. What else do I need to do? And that's probably, let's just do a quick run of that to see how that changed things. Also, I want to get a screenshot. Click through this, start, extras, author mode, create, Zork, map, room, interactions, add interaction, verbs, that doesn't do anything right now. So we'll make this a green object. We'll go ahead and call this test object, add, call this object 2, test custom object that you can interact with. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get a screenshot of that. And I think that is a good place to stop for the night, or for the day, although it is almost evening. Um, so yeah, we have interactions capable of being set up, and that is a really good place to be in, because it means that from this point on, I think our iterations will get quicker and quicker, because we'll actually be able to, set up this information and store it and load it back in when we reload the game. So, hello, Claril. Yeah, you made it just in time. Sorry, it's been 2.5 hours, so I'm kind of like dead after 2.5 hours of coding for custom game content. Ah, well, yeah. Sorry, that's bad timing. But I suppose I can at least tell you that I'm planning on doing a stream tomorrow. So I'm planning on doing art streams on Sundays now. I don't have a set time, but keep an eye on the channel feed, and then you'll be able to see that. But yeah, I apologize that I'm ending right as you got here. So, in any case, that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.